everyone. Today's lesson is applications with formulas. Before we start, I want to talk to you about the distinction between an equation and a formula. A literal equation is an equation with two or more variables, which could be something like, let's just say, 2x plus 5 equals 8. Or it could be something like 3x plus 4y equals 9. Whereas a formula is an equation that defines the relationship between two or more quantities. Basically, it means it's got more letters. Okay? Could it have 2? Yeah. Could it have 3? Yeah. But generally, we think about it like y equals mx plus b, where there's all these different letters. Or a equals 1/2 bh. Or p equals 2l plus 2w. That's a formula. Basically, we're going to use those to plug and chug. Okay, so what are we going to do first? We're going to start solving literal equations and formulas. Now, I want everybody to listen because this is very relevant to your science class. Okay? It says find the width of rectangles with perimeter 30.5 and L equals 1. L1 equals 4.1, L2 is 2.1, and L3 is 3.1. You're like, wait a minute. The lengths, aren't they supposed to be the same? This is actually, they want you to do it 3 different times. Now, here's what the book will tell you to do. The book will tell you to take your perimeter formula, 2L plus P equals 2L plus 2W, and they want you to solve for W and then plug it in. And so what they'll do is they'll ask you to subtract 2L from each side because we're solving for W. And so we get P minus 2L, and you're like, how do you know that? And that's because they're different letters. We can't subtract. We can't subtract them when they're different. We just have to use them as placeholders. And then divide by 2 on each side. So we have P equals, oops, I'm sorry, not P equals. Let me get that eraser out. Shouldn't be equals, it should be a minus. So we get P minus 2L over 2 equals W. So then they want us to plug in the P and the L and solve. Okay, that's fine, that's nice, but it just seems complicated to me. And this is where a lot of people will have the problem in science, is that they can't rearrange the problem. Well, guess what, guys? You don't always have to do that. You don't always have to do that. You can, you ready? I'm going to erase this. You can plug and chug. They're giving us enough pieces. And many times in science, they do too. They're giving us enough pieces. P equals 2L plus 2W. There are 3 different letters here. They're giving us 2. They're giving us the P, and each time they're giving us an L. So why can't we just play the plug and chug game and then rearrange, which y'all are very good at. And we're going to use the first L. Okay, so we get 30.5 equals, what, 8.4 plus 2W. Wow, you're like, that's a 2-step equation. I know how to do those. Those are easy peasy. And I have no idea what's going on with my pen. That's a little shaky. Maybe I'm writing with my toes or something. Okay, so we subtract, and I get 1 here, and 30 minus 8 is 22, and that equals 2W. Boy, my pen is going nuts today, isn't it? Let me erase that and try to write that better so you can see it. And this is supposed to be a short video. And we get 22.1 equals 2W, and then we divide by 2. So we get 11.05 equals W. Now, it might take you a little longer if you don't rearrange it, but you'll get it right. You're more likely to get it right. And I'd rather be right than wrong. So I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to use the second one. And what they want you to do is to use all three of these, but we're only going to do two. Okay, so again, we know the P is 30.5, and then 2 times 2.1 plus 2W. Okay, so 30.5 equals 4.2 plus 2W, and then we can subtract each side by 4.2, and I get 3 and 26, 2W, and then I'm going to divide by 2, and I get W is equal to 13.15. Okay? So now, there's very few times that you're actually going to have to rearrange without having any numbers. And an example of that is this next case here. Now, before y'all start getting upset and going, oh, I don't know how to do that, let's think. We always go back to what we do know already. And what we do know is that I is equal to P times R times T. And it wants us to solve for R. Okay, so go backwards. What's the opposite of multiplying by P and multiplying by T? The opposite of multiply is divide. So we just divide each side by P and T. So I equals, let me try that again. I over PT is equal to R. So what do we do for the H? We have A equals base over height divided by 2. We gotta solve for this. Well, that's what that is, right? 1/2 base height. Okay, so what is the opposite? What is the opposite of multiplying by B? So on the other side, so we have to, let me change my color, make maybe a little helpful. So the opposite is we have to divide B, because we want these B's to cancel out. So whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other. So what do we have to do to get the 2 to cancel out? We've got to multiply by it, so they cancel out. But whatever we do to one side, we have to do to the other, and we bring it down. Okay? All I did was the opposite operation. Here was B times H, so we divided by the B. Here was the H was being divided by the 2, so we multiplied by it. And then we get 2A over B. Okay? Don't get too stressed out. Just takes time and practice. And I imagine that we'll be practicing a lot of these in class on Thursday. Okay. So, let's talk about how we're going to use these formulas. Here are 3 formulas that they're going to give you. Distance equals rate times time. Interest equals principal times rate times time. And the formula to change Fahrenheit into Celsius, or Celsius into Fahrenheit, depending on what you're looking for. Okay? So it says, if you deposit $6,000 in a bank account that pays an annual simple interest rate of 4.5%, how long will it take to earn $500 in interest? Okay, so we got to figure out what all these things are asking. This 6,000 is what we're going to start with. And so that is the principal. This 4.5, oh, that's the R. And interest, it says in interest, so that's I. Oh, well, the word says interest in it, so of the 3 formulas, I'm going to use I equals P R T. All we have to do, all we have to do is plug in what we know and then solve for the one we don't. So it asks interest. It says the interest is 500. Okay. It says the principal is 6,000 times the rate. Now, we can't put the rate just like that in there. The rate has to be a decimal. So 0.045 times t. I know you can't barely see the t, but the t's there. Okay, well these are all being, let's simplify. What do we get when we do 6,000 times 0.045? Okay, that's going to give us 270t. Now, can we solve that? Oh yeah. So we take 500 divided by 270. And we get t equals, I get 1.85. Now, that is time in years. So, in order for us to earn $500 in interest with 4.5%, it's going to take us almost 2 years. Almost 2 years. Okay, secret word, secret word, secret word. I'm thinking I'm going to go with Daisy, Daisy Duck. Daisy, Daisy Duck. Where do we write it? We write it on our paste chart. In case I ask you, you know what the word is. And that's how I'll know that you watched the video. Okay, remember that after you watch the video, you should be doing your practice problems before you take the quiz. Do you have to do all of them? No. I would do enough of them until you're comfortable. I wouldn't do all the ones at the beginning or all the ones at the end. Do a little bit from each section, and I suggest you do the odds. Okay, my final public service announcement. Please do not forget to put your course name and section number on every communication with me, which means that you need to put the course number. It's either going to be 302, 303, or 304, and then your section number. Okay, until next time, bye-bye.